we're going to do an activity where I ask you to create a Geometry Dash Mount Rushmore.
Oh
Now,
yeah, I've seen these before.
yes, yes,
Yeah, I've
so,
I've heard of these.
yeah. So obviously, stated to everybody, there's 5 Mount Rushmores. 4 of them will be one category where you put 4 people in that category on them, and then the final
Hmm.
one will be one person from each Mount Rushmore into each category put onto one.
Okay, sure.
And the one we'll start with is the 4 players.
Oh man. Okay, well, Riot's an easy answer. He's got to be up there. I feel like every single person that you're gonna ask this to is gonna say Riot as a player.
Yep.
Um, just I feel like some people might not say this just because I feel like when people think of Mount Rushmore, it's like people always think about like the old. Um, but I feel like Zoink deserves a place. You know, Riot's the old, Zoink is the new. I'm trying to think here. What are some other really important and like popular like levels that have been rated? Because obviously, Riot, he had like the whole thing with like Bloodbath, and um he had the whole like cyclic thing.
Yeah.
Um I almost feel like a cyclic would fit more as like a creator though. Maybe Sunix? I feel like Sunix kind of takes up the
Mm.
like midpoint. Like Riot is like a real old gen player. Zoink is like a super new player. But I sort of feel like Sunix was kind of really up there from like
Yeah.
the like mid like 2019 to like 2021 ish kind of
Oh,
era.
really?
Like the just like the he kind I feel like he kind of fills in the middle of that. Which is honestly the era that I was following GD like the least, really, because it's when I wasn't playing a ton.
Huh.
Um,
That's interesting.
so yeah, so probably that. I'm trying to think. Who would be the fourth one? Trying to think about people that like are mostly like players, not like a content creator, not like a level creator. Who else was an important GD player? Hmm.
Should I throw in some names?
What's up?
Should I throw in some names for you?
Yeah, sure. I'm trying to think because I've really got those three blocked out with like their
Uh,
respective time periods, but like I know they're and I think I'm thinking of some other people like Nepesta and like Doggy are coming
yeah.
to mind, but it's like I feel like they fit more in like a YouTuber kind of category or whatever than just being good players because
Yeah.
they're not just players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. For some reason, I thought
There's
of Enswish, but I don't really know what
yeah.
Enswish did. I just
I
remember him.
I think the thing I always remember Enswish for was pioneering the use of 360 FPS and trying to
Oh,
justify that. Yeah.
hmm. Was he one of the ones on like the forefront of like fighting for um like FPS bypass or anything?
I'm not fully sure, but I do know that Enswish was like the first one of the first people in top play to like be an advocate basically for 360
Yeah.
FPS. Used it for the golden verification and also
Hmm.
beat top 75 first person to ever do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty solid contender. I was gonna say because his name just kept coming across my mind. I was like, I know he's important, but I'm like, what did he do again? Yeah, that's probably a pretty solid fourth pick. I don't know exactly when he was super active. I don't know when his like prime time period was. If it
um
was fighting for 360 hertz or whatever, it had to have been in like
it
20
was
like 19 or
yeah, it was
something.
2020, yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been right around there because I know like early mid 2.1 is when like that all started because I know in like 1.9 like nobody was using higher refresh rates and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like that's a fair four.
Yeah, you got Riot, Zoink, Sunix, and Enswish.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It'd be I'd be lying if I said I haven't seen someone do that list of
That
people
exact
as well.
one.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe it.
yeah. People say Zoink, Sunix, and Enswish are the top three best players of all time, and then they just throw Riot in there as well because it's like, I mean, it's
Mhm.
Riot. Like, he's the
Yeah, I
first person to
mean,
push the
yeah, I
limits.
mean, he verified the most popular extreme demon ever. I think
Yeah,
Bloodbath stayed at Bloodbath's like at the top of the demon list for like way longer than it should have been. It was really funny. There was like this
yeah,
time period where people just like didn't want to believe that there were levels harder than it, and like they
yeah,
were just like, no,
yeah.
Bloodbath is still number one. But then as soon as it finally moved down, like it fell real fast.
Yeah. It was a. It was like keeping a flame lit for as long as you could, and then just instantly got rained on.
It's literally like there. I feel like there was this time period where like all the list mounts were like, la la la, I can't hear you. Bloodbath is still number one.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah. No, I have. I think the day that Bloodbath was the day Bloodbath had that realization where, oh my god, it's easier, is the second Phobos switched with it and was seen as harder.
yeah,
That's when it was just
yep.
like, oh
That's
my god.
yep.
But now we have the second one. It is the 4 level creators.
Okay, yeah. So as much as his levels kind of bring me pain when I have to play them, I feel like it'd be a crime to not put Darnock up there.
Yeah.
Darnock is like directly responsible for two game modes in the game, basically.
Oh
Like
yeah.
if it he basically created the UFO and the wave. Um, so I think him for sure. Um, hmm. My mind almost wants to go to like Viprin even because I feel like he was like super 1.9 man. Like I feel like he that was like when he had like this meteoric like rise of in creator
Yeah.
points is like when he in like 1.9 like this guy was cranking out solo levels hosting like these big collabs like all the time. um so I feel like I feel like he's pretty pretty up there with I mean yeah he's still fourth place and like the dude hasn't made a level in years so like how can you not. um I think Sir Punch probably deserves a place. Obviously, he was like one of the first, if not maybe even the first person to like do like mini game kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know, really pushing the limits with like trigger work back in the day. And I mean, honestly, he's even shown that he can still hold up in 2.2 because he had an event level in the NCS event. So
Oh
like Unk
yeah.
still got it. Um, but yeah, like really good with trigger work and stuff back then. Um, so yeah, I think he probably deserves a place up there. And I'm trying to think because Viperin was like 1.9 guy. I'm trying to think about if there was anybody that was like really prominent in like 2.0 or something.
Funny game.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of like he pushed like a different boundary than like Sir Punch did, I feel like. But they both were like really influential
Yeah.
and had like they approached level creation like very differently and went for like really different things, but they both I feel like they both did leave a very lasting impact. And frankly, even some of Funny Game's levels that like aren't that pretty visually are still just kind of raw. Like as inconsistent as his Yada part is, it kind of has aura with like the moving blocks and the switching spikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Um yeah, cuz I whenever it comes to like 2.1, I kept thinking of like Blee, but I'm like, I mean, he makes like really good levels, but like I don't even know I don't know if they're like that crazy like influential. You know, it's just like Change of Scene was like real popular for a good while, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably a fair four, I think, with in terms of like lasting impacts. Viperin is probably the one of those four that has the least like lasting impacts, but I just think that he kind of was the epitome of like the 1.9 style.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a lot of Viperin
100%.
levels from like 1.9 that I'm just like, yeah, this is what like every 1.9 level probably looks like, you know.
Yeah, he spammed that stuff in 1.9.
Yep. Yep. That's why he's still up there today.
Yep. Um, and now we have the four content creators.
Okay. Well, I think Nepesta deserves a spot. He's stuck through. He's been around for years, hasn't changed a bit. He does these like crazy thumbnails that are like psychopathic on YouTube. He's got a very like appealing sense of humor. I don't know if he edits all of his own videos nowadays. I know that I mean that's the thing too. He's like basically directly responsible for like Doggy's initial rise because Doggy was just his editor for a while.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that he deserves a spot. Pretty well rounded. Like I don't watch a whole lot of GD live streams, but um, yeah, I've heard that his streams are pretty good, and I've watched a couple of his videos, and they're pretty good. So yeah, I think the Pest deserves a spot. I think EVW deserves a spot. That's probably a
Yep.
real easy answer. I'm sure a lot of people say him, just because super old gen, super
Yep.
classic.
Still holding
He's
up too.
like, I was gonna say, he's still holding up too, still going strong.
Yeah.
Um, if there was one person I had to guess probably has been playing GD longer than me, it's probably him. Um, and yeah, like it's nice to see. Especially recently, he said he's gonna start, playing other games on like a second channel, which is great because I've always thought it was kind of funny that GD really did just like succumb over his entire channel because his main channel used to be like the variety stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he holds up. He keeps with he keeps with the modern GD landscape. He does collabs with people sometimes, and he plays like hard levels sometimes, like he's beaten the RGB, and
Hmm.
it's like that's crazy. It's kind of motivating because I've seen people in my comments that are like, "Oh, I'm like 20 and I haven't even beaten Extreme. It's so over for me." And it's like, dude, EVW's like 45 and like he's beaten like a top 300. Like you can do this, bro. Um, so I think those two are fair. Again, even though it is kind of a new gen answer, I think Vortrox kind of deserves a
Hmm.
spot. Um, he's also had like a meteoric rise, that started off like 3 years ago, and it has just kept going. Me and him hit 100K like a day apart from each other, and he's just never slowed down
Yeah.
ever since. I'm happy for him. He deserves it. He's a great guy, and yeah, like I've watched a couple of his videos. Um, I tune into his streams sometimes. Um, I definitely think he's got a good personality for it. He's very energetic, which I respect because I can only be so energetic while playing GD. Even
Yeah.
if I'm playing an extreme or something, it's just like after a certain point, I feel like I just start locking in and I'm just playing and I'm not really doing a whole lot. But I'm sure some of it is a little bit hyperbolic. I don't know if when he dies on a level, if he really needs to start pulling his mouth out and sticking his tongue out and making faces, but that's his content. So whatever works. Um, and then I think the last one I'd probably pick is probably Colon. I think
Yeah, it's
Colon
a good
deserves
one.
it. Um, he he has probably the most rewatchable GD videos that I've ever watched. Um, he has an advantage because it's scripted content, so they can really be a lot more polished. Um, but yeah, like he always just picks really interesting topics to talk about.
Yeah.
And they're topics that I just go back to sometimes. Like I've probably watched his video about how GD introduces its mechanics, just the Rob Top levels, like 5 times, because it's just a topic that I've just sometimes come back to, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to this again. I like this. This is a good video. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got really good rewatchable content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very solid.
100%. And now we're on to the 4 music artists.
Ooh. Okay. Waterflame easy.
Ooh, bang right off the bat.
Waterflame easy. I love Waterflame. Um, very good stuff. Uh, Not much to say really. I think Waterflame has made like all of the best Rob Top level
Yep.
songs. He's got a bunch of super good classic like just classic other songs that are, even if they're not in Rob Top levels, there's plenty of good levels that use Waterflame music. Um, God bless Amethyst for introducing the world to yet another Waterflame banger.
Yep.
Um, so that's a pretty easy one. Um, I have recently come to appreciate a lot of boss fight music, actually. Um,
Hmm.
I don't even know a ton of levels that are like really well known that use their music, but it's just really good. Whenever I come across a level that does use their music, it's always a good time. I mean, my current hardest is Shutdown. It uses Milky Ways, and it goes hard.
Oh my god,
You know,
yes.
yeah, like I don't like all of their music, but they have a lot of really, really good re-listenable ones. I think, I think "Be Gone, Mr. Gone" uses a boss fight song. Um, so that's where people might have heard that. Um, I think it would almost be wrong to not mention Dim Rain.
Yep.
Obviously at the speed of light, but also by proxy. Dim Rain was like an influence to like Nighthawk 22.
Yeah.
So I feel like without Dim Rain, we wouldn't have Isolation, which, is the Limbo song. Everybody knows Isolation by this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think At the Speed of Light and Isolation are two like super prevalent songs, and without Dim Rain, we wouldn't have either of them. Obviously, he's got like other music too that's pretty influential. I always think of there's a funny game level. I think it's called Revolution that uses a Dim Rain song. Um,
Infernoplex.
yeah, it uses Infernoplex, and it's I don't know why, but that level specifically has always been very memorable to me personally. It's just always stuck in my mind. Um, so probably those three, and then even if his music isn't as prevalent nowadays, I'd honestly probably go with DJVI.
Yeah.
Gave a ton of the early bangers. I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan of the early level songs, but I mean, I'll stand by Back on Track and Dry Out and Can't Let Go Until I Die. So
Yeah.
you know they're pretty good. I've heard some of his recent music, and like it's still good, but yeah, I mean, I don't think he has as much of the staying power as some of the other artists do. um but I think it's important not to forget your day ones, and yeah, even if his music isn't as used anymore, I think he's still kind of helped with GD's like fundamental, like
Yeah.
foundational identity.
Yeah, is he oh he made Club Step, right?
That's DJ Nate, I think.
DJ Nate. I keep
I
mixing
think
the
DJ
DJs.
Nate was Club Step. Yeah.
The DJs, they just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the last official level song with a DJVI song is X Step. I think everything after that is Water Flame or DJ Nate or F777 or
oh,
MDK, MDK too.
MDK, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, he he hasn't had a song in an official level in a hot minute, but those early ones, for a while that was all there was.
That
Especially
is
with
true, yeah.
1.9, it was like your only options were official level songs. So, and like most of them were DJVI songs back then.
Yeah. Well, now we're on to the final Mount Rushmore where we take one person off of each previous one and put them into onto each head in this final one. So we'll start with the 4 players, and we have Riot, Zoink, Sunix, and Enswish.
So I think that when it comes to the idea of a Mount Rushmore, I do think that, I mean, obviously the real Mount Rushmore is a bunch of old people that were historically important.
Yeah.
So even though I think Zoink is really important nowadays and is pushing a lot of the boundaries, I feel like I still kind of have to give it to Riot. Um, he was like the OG like difficulty guy, the OG,
Yeah.
breaking the bounds and whatnot. And even though Zoink has realistically probably pushed the game further than Riot did at the time, um, yeah, I think that historically speaking, it that's kind of what I would default to.
That's a good choice. And now we're on to the 4 level creators, which is Darnock, Viprin, Serpunge, and Funny Game.
Darnog, Vibrant, Serpunch, funny game. I might I might give it to Serpunch, frankly. I know
Mm.
that Darnock was obviously historically important, but honestly, I feel like a lot of people don't know that he's directly responsible for 2 game modes. I think Serpunch is probably the reason that half of the mini game levels out there today exist in the first place.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like he probably motivated a lot of small children back in the day to try and learn what the move trigger does or the spawn trigger. Um, and yeah, and again, I feel like for a lot of the game's history, he was just like the like stereotypical like he's like the best creator. He's like the greatest creator.
Yeah.
So I feel like for a long time he was that. Even though Darnock has like a bajillion creator points too, but they're all from like 1.3. But I feel like Serpunch was probably the one with the most staying power in like the more modern era.
No, I agree. I honestly, I wouldn't even be shocked if Serpunge was like one of the earliest inspirations for like Rob Top creating any form of a platformer game mode.
Oh yeah, I mean
Like,
I wouldn't be surprised.
but
Yeah.
Serpunge has a lot of influence that I feel like goes like under people. Like it just goes a lot under the weather sometimes.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of subconscious influence. You're not even really thinking about it, but if you really try to think about where your inspiration comes from, then yeah, you might end up going back to him.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
and same with Darnock. I didn't I knew he inspired the wave. I did not know he inspired the UFO.
yeah, he's got a level. I think it's called Gravity Field, and it's just yellow orbs everywhere as the cube. It's just a bunch of yellow orbs in the from the cube. And
Mm.
obviously back then it's like 2013. It's like Darnock is like talking to Rob Top on Touch Arcade.
Yeah, and now we have the 4 content creators, which are Nepesta, EVW, Vortrox, and Colin.
Yeah, so I think even though I probably like Nepesta's content more or Colin's content more, again, I think falling back to the historical standpoint, I'd probably give it to EVW, especially because of how big he is. EVW has pretty much always been like in like the top 10 like biggest GD YouTubers.
Yeah,
He's probably directly responsible for a lot of people playing the game and discovering it and trying it out in the first place. Um, I'm sure there are tons of kids out there who are like, yeah, I started playing GD because I saw like an EVW video or something a long time ago. And even today still, I'm sure that he still gets new people into the game all the time. He's been around from the start. Yeah, I mean he's never
He's
let up with
EVW.
making never yeah, he's never let up with making videos. He's been committed to the content grind for
12
longer than
years.
most of his viewers have probably been alive. So so
Oh my
yeah,
god.
even if I like Nepesta or Colin's videos more, yeah, I just feel like EVW's got has just got like a kind of an unmatchable community presence, really. I feel like everybody knows who he is, even if they don't
Yeah.
love his videos or watch his streams or all that. It's like you can't be a GD player and not know who EVW is.
Oh, 100%. And then the final one is the four music artists, which is Waterflame, Boss Fight, Dim Rain 47, and DJVI.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna give this one to Waterflame.
Yep. I was.
um, just gonna give this one to Waterflame. Again, made tons of the more recent level, like at Rob Top level bangers. Made tons of bangers outside of it, and also he's like the only one that I know is pretty nice regarding YouTube copyright because he'll let you use his music and videos, which is very nice for YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love like a bunch of his music. I use like a bunch of his music in like just the levels I make for videos. And yeah, I mean again, I feel like if you ask the average GD person to name like a popular GD artist, I feel like he's got to be one of the first ones to come to mind for
Yeah.
most people. Because honestly, as much as people talk up people like Dim Rain, I'm willing to bet there's a large majority of this community that can't name any Dim Rain songs other than At the Speed of Light. You know?
Probably. Yeah. No. The most consistent thing about the Mount Rushmore is how for the music artist one, I'm pretty sure every time Waterflame has been on there whenever I've asked.
Yep.
So
Yeah, it's just like I feel like when I was younger, I used to view DJVI as like the GD guy, but just over time, it's just switched to being Waterflame. It's like,
yeah.
and the thing too is like he's been making music for so long that sometimes I'll come across a level that has like a good song, and I'm like, this is a Waterflame song that I've never even heard of, but it's like I'm glad I have now though.
Yeah.
Like there like Waterflame is in the category, but there's like tons of songs of his that I know I like, but I probably can't even remember the name. Like I just remember how they go or whatever, and like
Yeah.
I'll have to scroll through his catalog to find them.
Yeah. He makes
Yeah.
really good music.
Yep.
Well, he got the four best in one monument, and it is Riot, Serpunge, EVW, and a Waterflame.
Yep. I that is a pretty fair
Yes.
selection.
Yes, I like that. I like that one.
Would not be surprised if that is somebody else's exact selection too, though.
Honestly, I think Riot, EVW, and Waterflame. I don't think I've seen Serpunge yet, which I
Hmm.
really love that
Okay.
you put Serpunge on there.
Okay.
So
Yes, I'm not an
there's,
NPC. I'm not just a bandwagoner that's like, I like Riot.
I mean, I do gotta say this though. I'm pretty sure every Mount Rushmore for the content creators, Nepesta, EVW, and Colon. It's those
Yeah, that's
three
probably fair.
every single
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I definitely understand that with something like with these categories, there's gonna probably be one person that's gonna be like ever present in like all of
Yeah.
them. Um, just because honestly, I feel like when it comes down to it, there's you think of a GD Mount Rushmore, and you'd think that it's probably got to be people that are like pretty important, and I think that a lot of people just couldn't think of enough, like a ton of people that really deserve that level, because I mean I
Yeah.
could think of tons more players or creators or content creators, but if I'm trying to think about the ones that are like really the most influential, it really narrows it down.
I mean, that's a fair assessment.
Hmm.
I definitely think that constantly keeping in the idea that it's supposed to be like a Mount Rushmore, it's supposed to be people from long ago. Kermal did the same thing, and I love when people do that instead of just like 4 players. Zoink Trick Pop Off.
Yeah, yeah. No. I mean, it's totally fair if those are the people that you think happen to be the most influential, because
I mean,
I mean they
yeah.
are pretty influential nowadays. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody puts like Doggy in like the content creator or the player one, or even the creator one. I mean, Doggy's really good at creating actually, but like I
He
wouldn't be surprised if someone puts him in there. But it's just that I'm trying to think back, and I'm like, well, without Nepesta, we probably wouldn't really have Doggy, you know.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen people. I think I saw someone put Doggy for player and content creator.
Yeah, and
He's
that doesn't surprise me that much
he's
because
so versatile.
he is very present nowadays, especially because I mean, you know, it's nothing but grief. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and that goes into him being a content creator and a player. And I mean, as far as content creating goes, I mean, he doesn't make videos super often, but when he makes videos that aren't just grief progress reports, like
They're good
they're
videos.
decent, like they're
Yeah.
pretty good videos, yeah. So that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
Just depends on how the person's looking at it, I guess.
he's good with his quality.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll go back to the question part of the interview.
Yeah, I was gonna say people. I saw some intriguing comments under that community post. So, but I'm curious what the most common ones were because I'm sure not everyone was asking the random
um
questions.
yeah, I didn't pick fan questions that seemed really random. Like
Yeah,
I saw one asking about the Roman Empire and I'm like
I saw that one. I saw that one. Did not know what that meant at all. I saw that one.
and it was a top comment as well, and that's why I was like, is there a meme that I don't know about?
If you don't, I don't know about it either. If there is, not a clue.